morning, second graders. It's me, Lego Man. How's everybody today? I'm so excited to be here. This is our technology class. Woohoo! Welcome, everybody. Today we're actually starting something new. So I think Mrs. Erica is going to tell you about it. So let me get her. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our technology class. So really quick, this week we are in our third quarter. So that means that we're starting new from the beginning. And so fresh start. Every week you will continue to have your typing lesson. So that'll be part of your technology for pretty much the rest of the school year. So we'll be going through and doing a few lessons every week inside of our typing jungle. So I believe most of you guys have been keeping up with the lesson. So that's great. And some of you guys I even saw are getting really ahead. You're like way ahead. So that's awesome. That means you must be really super fast typers. So this week, your lessons are going to be starting from lesson 79 and going all the way to lesson 88. And so it's just a lot of practice with a lot of the bottom row words. And they're also teaching you about the space, learning how to put a space. So that's lesson 86. Lesson 86 is a little video. So when you click on it,
when it comes to conveying ideas,
video, I'll show it to you
space
guys.
is pretty important. No, not that kind of space. I'm talking about something closer to home. I'm talking about the spaces we see in the pages of a book and on the screens of our computers. We take them for granted. But imagine this. 1,000 years ago, the English language didn't put spaces between its words. It made writing faster, but readers had to guess where each word began on the page. Talk about a headache. Fortunately, modern English uses more punctuation and is much easier to read. Spaces between words aren't the only spaces we see when reading. Have you ever noticed a big space before the first word in a paragraph? We call this big space an indent. Just as spaces help our eyes see where each word begins, indents tell readers where each new paragraph begins. When writing, regular spaces can be added by hitting the space bar. While it might seem like indents are created by hitting the space bar several times, it's not a good idea. You might put 3 spaces at the start of one paragraph and 5 at the start of another. This will make your page look crooked. Or worse, your computer might think you made a mistake and get rid of the spaces. That means no more indent. Instead, indents are added by hitting the Tab key. One press and your cursor leaps way over there, pushing the text with it. These spaces are always the same size, keeping your indents nice and even. But that's not the only thing the Tab key does. You can also press it to move from one box to another when filling out forms on the internet. You might have noticed that the Tab key is a smaller key than the spacebar. The spacebar is big and easy to reach because you will use it more than the Tab key, not because of the sizes of the spaces they each make. So remember, even though we'll often add one small space when writing, we'll still sometimes find ourselves needing one giant tab.
Okay, so hopefully you guys know about this. I think when you're writing, right, on a piece of paper, you don't just write a word and then you write a next word. You always leave a little bit of space, right? And like they were showing you when you're starting a new paragraph, you leave maybe a lot of space and then you start the first word, right? And they call that an indent. So you're probably going to start seeing that in some of the typing lessons where you'll notice that there might be an indent. And so remember, that's the tab button on your keyboard. And I know that you guys don't have a keyboard in front of you right now, but when you go home and you're doing these lessons, you can take a look and you can find the tab key that you can press to be able to make an indent, right? And then remember, your space bar makes the space between the words. And it makes a nice, neat space. It uses the same amount of space. And when you're writing on paper with your pencil, you always want to make sure you try to make it very neat and you leave the same amount of space between each word so that it looks nice, right? So that is going to be your typing for this week, lesson 79 to 88. So please make sure, set aside some time during your week. You might need to ask a parent, can I please use the computer to do my typing jungle? And then you can do your typing jungle. All right, so this week we are actually starting something new. So if you've been with me now, which a lot of you guys have, right, since kindergarten, in kindergarten, we start lessons called Internet Safety and Digital Citizenship. And these lessons are really super important because you guys are growing up since you're a baby, since the day you're born, since even before you're born, your parents are taking pictures and they're posting them. And the internet is a part of your life, right? But we have to teach you guys not only how to stay safe on the internet, but how to make good choices and how to have what we call a balance, right? So if you could imagine, if we had two scales, right, and you put something on one of them a lot, it's going to go down, and the other one's going to move up. But if you put a little bit more on the other one, then they're going to probably meet in the middle. And that's what it's like in our lives. We always want to make sure that we get to use technology for good and we enjoy it. And then we get to do other things that don't really involve technology, like riding a bike or coloring or playing a board game or talking to somebody, right? And you want to have a balance where there's equal amount of both of those types of activities. And that's what a healthy life is. And for you guys, we have to teach you. Can you believe we have to teach you guys what is the internet when you're in second grade? I mean, gosh, I think back when I was in second grade, there was no internet, right? And it wasn't something that existed. And it's something that's pretty new for kids nowadays, that they have every device in the world at their house, right? And they know how to tap here and click there, and that you guys know everything. But it's really important that we learn these things. So this week, as kind of like our lesson one, we're going to learn about what is the internet. Because you hear people, oh yeah, the internet, the internet, the internet. And you're just like, what is this? What is this internet? Right? Right, Lego Man?
Yeah, I always hear people, oh, I'm going on the internet. I'm like, yeah, did you use the internet? And I'm just like, what in the, it sounds like, I don't know, kind of like another world, I guess. It sounds like an internet world.
Well, you're right. It is another world. And that's what we're going to be learning about. So I have this short presentation that I want to show it to you guys. And it's just just kind of like an introduction to what is the internet. So the question says, what is the internet? And a lot of you guys, maybe what you hear instead is going online, right? That might be what you hear people say, maybe a parent or a friend. Oh, I'm going online. I'm going online. That's the same thing as going on the internet. If you hear somebody saying that I'm going online, they're talking about I'm going on the internet and I'm using the internet. And every time you go on a phone or on a laptop or on an iPad, right? Or maybe you have like a Nintendo Switch at home. You might have, gosh, there's a zillion, these all different devices, right? Different type of tablet or something. In order for you to play the game that you're playing, or whatever, use the app, right? Whatever it is, watch the show, you need to be able to go and use the internet. And you probably don't even stop and think, oh, wow, so for me to watch this YouTube video, I need the internet? And you do need the internet. And so we're going to learn a little bit about what exactly is the internet. Do you want to try and guess, Lego Man?
Gosh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna say the internet is like an online world that we go in and we use to watch videos, and especially we watch Lego videos on the online world.
Well, maybe you watch Lego videos. I don't know if all the kids watch Lego videos. But the internet is actually, and so now I'm going to say this really slow and I'm going to explain it. It's actually, guess what? It's global. That means it's all over the world, right? There's people in all different countries that have the internet. And really what it is it's like these networks. And these are like almost like little communities, right? And they have all computers and devices and things that are connecting into them. And what they're doing is they're able to send information to each other, right? And it's all through the internet. And so for you guys, when you are on the internet, You probably are at your house, and your parents, what they had to do is they had to call up a company, an internet company. So maybe it was Verizon or maybe it was Spectrum. You may have heard them talking about these companies. And these companies, they're the companies that help people connect and that helps them get into the internet, into this world, this online world. And they have to come to your house and maybe, or your apartment or wherever you live, and maybe you've seen them. Maybe if you've ever moved before, they have to come and they come with all these wires and they have to run them through your walls and they have to set it up and they have to connect it outside to these big poles and towers and things. And all of the wires and everything, they all connect into these main big towers that are all around. And guess what? That's where the internet comes from, right? And then once you get connected in and you have it all set up, then you go on and you don't even think about it. You're just like, oh, I'm watching my video. But guess what's happening when you're doing that? It's connecting to the internet and it's connecting to this online world that you don't even think about because you just think it's invisible, right? You don't even think that, oh, really? How does this happen? Right? And so it's a really big part of all of your lives. And I think that even now, right, since we've had COVID-19 and we've had to do videos for our lessons, and remember when we were doing the Zoom online at the end of last school year, guess what? How we were doing that? We were doing it through the internet, right? And if we didn't have the internet, we wouldn't have been able to see each other on the video or do any lessons because they wouldn't be able to, right? So the internet helps to connect people, and it connects people through devices such as computers, laptops, iPads, iPhones. That's what the internet does. So hopefully it's helping you guys now. You're like, oh, wow. So there's this other world and it's all connected through the internet. Okay. So I just put this picture up just to get you guys to see, and you don't even need to remember this. This is more just for fun, just to show it to you guys. But if you could imagine that there's one person over here, okay, and say I want to send an email message to your parents. I want to send them the lesson that I did this lesson right now for technology class. I have to go into my computer and I have to type up the message and then I have to put in all of the addresses to the people that I want to send it to. And just like if you guys have ever gone to your mailbox before and maybe you've received some letters in the mail, maybe people even over Christmas, maybe they sent you gifts. They had to write an address on the envelope or on the box, right? Maybe they had to write 54 Sycamore Street, Flushing, New York, 11375, right? And then they bring it to the post office and they mail it, and the mail trucks go around and they deliver it to all the people, right? And that's because that's what happens in our world where we can see everything. That's our physical world. But now on the internet, remember, going back to me now, remember, I'm typing up this email message. It's kind of like a letter, except I don't go to the post office because it's not going to come in the mailbox at your house. It's going to come in the computer. And so I need to get the email address. And your parents, they have email addresses. And so maybe like one of their email addresses might be, I don't know, maybe it's honest358@gmail.com. That could be an email address. And when I put that in, and then I type my letter, my message, and I press the send button, do you know what it does? It travels through the internet, through all of the internet, and it goes to the address of your parent. And then guess what happens? Ba-ding! You've got mail. And they have email and they get the message from me. And guess what? I didn't have to go over to their house. I didn't need to go to the post office. I sent it all through my computer. And how did that work? Because I had the internet, right? And without the internet, I would not be able to send your parents a message through my computer. I need the internet. The internet carries the message and delivers it to them. And it's pretty amazing when you think about it, right? Because it's almost instant. I send the message and they have it in like a second. And that's pretty amazing, right? Okay, so hopefully now you guys are starting to understand how the internet works. Let's watch a little video, okay? So this is a little video, hopefully to help make a little bit more sense of this whole thing. So I'm gonna put it on, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it a little bit more.
Molly is a regular kid like you, and she's curious about the internet. She wrote down 3 questions she has about it. 1. How big is the internet, and is it part of the real world? 2. What are the good things on the internet? And 3. Is the internet made just for kids? Let's help Molly answer question 1. How big is the internet, and is it part of the real world? The internet is very big, but it's not the real world. The real world is made up of places like your school and your neighborhood, and the real world has people who live in it, like you and your teacher. The internet is different from the real world because it exists only on computers. These computers are connected together, and that lets people from everywhere talk and share information with each other. Information like this picture of a banana slug. Real people use the internet, but imagine if people tried to live inside their computers. That's just silly. And it's why the internet isn't a real place. It's a tool people use to get information. Molly's second question was, what are the good things on the internet? Well, that picture of a banana slug is a good thing because it's funny. Like you, Molly is curious and smart, so she uses the internet to learn. She reads stories, plays games, and watches videos. Just yesterday, she watched a video about dinosaurs. Molly had one more question. Is the internet made only for kids? Only some of the internet is made for kids. There are pictures and other things on the internet that kids shouldn't see. Also, there are places on the internet where people say mean things about each other. These places aren't fun, and they're not safe for kids. But if you follow some simple rules, you can avoid them. Think about this. There are places in the real world, places in your neighborhood maybe, that aren't safe for you. For example, you know you have to look both ways before you cross a street, and you know it's not safe to talk to strangers or accept candy from them. These rules are simple, and they keep you safe in the real world. Fortunately, there are simple rules for staying safe on the internet, too. Molly's going to learn all about them, and you can join her.
Okay, so if you guys remember the NetSmarts Kids, it was I'll send out the website to your parents, but that's a great website. They have so many of these videos, and you remember they have even some fun games for you guys to play. So it's a great website. But just going back to what the video was talking about, right? Not all of the internet is for kids. Right. And so they were talking about how the internet can be such a great place and it connects people all over the world, which is amazing. But there can also be a lot of things on the internet that are not for your age. And so that's going to be a lot about what we're going to be learning this year. And I'll send out links to websites that are for you. And so we would consider those green, right? If you remember the stoplight from first grade, we had the green websites. Those are ones that perfect for your age. You can go on, no problem. Everything on there would be amazing for your age. Then we had yellow, where you had to maybe ask an adult, is this okay for me? And then we had red, where you're just like, this does not look like it's for kids, right? And you guys are getting older now. So hopefully you are starting to really just open up your eyes where you could see something, whether it's a show or a game or whatever, and you can just know that, I don't know, this just doesn't feel good. This feels like maybe this isn't for me. And then you can stop because you know you have self-control. You can say, I know how to make a good choice and I know this isn't good for me, right? So that we're going to be talking about that more this year. Okay, so let me move on to the next slide because I just want to remind you guys, what is a digital citizen? Because this is so important, and this is really mostly what we'll be talking about is how can we be good digital citizens, right? And so we have to review what is a digital citizen.
Oh my goodness. I think a digital citizen is kind of like a Lego. they are belong to another world, and they have a very special mission. They have a mission to be the best they can be in their world.
Wow. Oh my gosh, Lynn. Well, so what I have here, there's a picture, and this is the picture of the world. And there's a passport for the United States of America. And we are citizens of the United States of America. And that is a real place. You can take an airplane there. If you're coming from another country, you can fly to different places in the United States. You can drive, take a train, and it's a physical, real place, right? And so we have to follow laws in our country, right? And rules in order for us to be good citizens, right? Good citizens, what do? They stop at the stop sign when they're driving, and they stop at the red light, and they make sure to follow all of the rules every day. As a student, a good student, they listen to their teacher, they get all their homework done, right? There's certain things that we can do in our real world. But there's this other world that we just talked about, the internet world, this online world. And when you go into that world, and how do you go into that world? How do you?
Well, first you do 10 jumping jacks, and then you leap into the screen. And if it bangs into your head, then you just didn't do enough jumping jacks. So go do some more, and then jump in.
No, that's definitely not how you get into the internet, Lego Man. Don't try that at home, okay? He's just being very silly. The way that you go into the internet is by using your computer or your tablet, right? Or your phone. And when you go into that online world, you are now a digital citizen. And that comes with great responsibility. You have a responsibility to yourself. You have a responsibility to your friends and your family, and you have a responsibility to the world, right? Of how you use the internet and how you act and how you behave on there. And so that's what we are going to be learning about this year is how can we be good digital citizens, okay? So let me just move on. What do you do on the internet? That's kind of where I want to end the lesson. So you see here, I have YouTube and Netflix and Disney Plus and a Switch and iPad. I'm sure these all look super familiar, right? And so my question for you guys is I want you to think this week, what do you do most on the internet? So think about your whole week. You know, today is Thursday. So Thursday, what did you do? Did you do anything on the internet this morning? Are you maybe tonight? Are you going to be watching a show or something on the weekend? Will you play your Switch? Think about what you're going to be doing on the internet. And I would really like you to even think about how long did you do it for? You know, like say you watched something on YouTube. Did you watch maybe just one episode of it for like 30 minutes, or did you watch like 3 or 4 hours of it, right? So you want to stop and think, how long are you doing something for on the internet? Because that's also part of being a good digital citizen, to protect yourself from spending too much time in front of a screen, right? That's definitely not healthy. So your assignment this week is everybody's going to get one of these sheets, and you can either, it's up to you. You can type in it if you want. You can even, I'll print it out and I'll give you guys the printouts. You can draw a picture. What I want to know your favorite place to visit on the internet. So it could be like a favorite app that you like to go on, or a game, or a show that you like on YouTube. I want to know what it is. So this will help me. And maybe if you have more than one favorite, maybe you have like top 3, put them all. So that way I can have an idea of what you guys are doing. And then it can help me to know what to talk about in the lessons to help you guys to make good choices. Okay. So it's a really easy homework, guys. It shouldn't take you longer than like 5 minutes. You could easily just type in the name of the app or the game or whatever, or draw a picture of it. just as long as I can figure out what it is, okay? And then you can send it back in to me. So you can either have your parent email it, remember, through the internet, send me a message, or come back with the paper that I'll give out to you guys, okay? So that's your homework this week. And then also your typing, don't forget about your typing. And then I'm sorry if this video went too long. I know there's a lot to talk about with the internet. But it is an important topic and it's so much a part of your lives, right? So we have to make sure that we teach you guys how to make good choice, how to be good digital citizens, right? All right, guys, so we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys. And don't forget, Lego videos are the best.
Lego man play.